Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Author in the Spotlight series, where you get to meet the authors in our upcoming book, all around the theme of grief. And today we are joined by the lovely Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good. So, just open with you telling us a bit about you. So, who you are, what you enjoy, what you do, that sort of thing.
Okay. I'm Sarah, and I suppose firstly, I'm a wife and mum. I'm also a parent carer, and I used to be a music teacher. And actually, I do have one student now, gradually getting back into things, having been poorly for a very long time. Um, but also I have retrained as a therapeutic coach. So I spend a lot of my time working with people who are chronically ill, especially fatigue related illness, um, and also parent carers, um, usually with children with neurodivergent brains, um, just navigating obstacles and helping them find their resources and their way through, because quite often we can find it difficult. There's a lot of advice out there and it doesn't always fit our circumstances. So it's finding ways to work with what we've got and move forward from there. And sometimes just accept what we've got, and that can be really hard. So it's helping people find joy in the tricky.
Amazing,
Yeah.
and such a powerful thing to do as well. So yeah, absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to ask, what made you want to be part of this book? Obviously, you were in our Children's Mental Health Matters book, and you also was is part are part of this book. So what was it that appealed to you about this particular topic?
Do you know what? This book, I was, oh, do I, don't I, do I, don't I? And I told a couple of people about it, and they said, why would you be writing in a book about grief? And that's why I wanted to do it. Because I mean, my chapter, I know we haven't got to this yet, but my chapter and my story is quite extreme, really. But I have spent more than half my life dealing with chronic illness. And whilst the grief isn't quite on the same level as what I've gone through in the last 5 years, there has always been some level of grief. There just is with chronic illness. Um, and I think a lot of us can experience a lot of low mood, depression, anxiety, um, and a lot of loss. And it's not just the loss of things that we've had, it's the loss of things that we wanted. And yes, we talk about grief, and a lot of people think that involves somebody dying, and it doesn't always. And sometimes it involves grieving ourselves, which is a really bizarre thing to do, but also a necessary one. So that's why I wanted to be involved. Yeah.
And it's amazing and it is powerful, and as a fellow person who suffers with chronic illness, it is difficult for some people to actually realize like just how it impacts your life,
Yeah,
and
it
the
does.
changes and adaptations, and as you say, not just the things that you've lost or not been able to do, but the things that you will never be able to do, and that that frustration and that all of that
Yeah.
that comes up. So it's a really powerful chapter.
Yeah. And actually, when we start addressing these things and working with them, we can find that actually we might be able to do those things. We might be able to get into a state where our bodies can heal, because actually our bodies are generally designed to. So people have come back from all sorts of things that they've been told they never will. Um, so it's opening up that possibility, but at the same time, accepting that if that doesn't happen for you, that's still okay. It's finding value and worth in the life that you have today. And it's no less just because you're ill or you can't do things. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you for sharing that. And that was one of the things I wanted to get across with the book is that um yes, when someone dies you grieve, obviously, but it isn't always just about that. There are other things that you grieve and that
Yeah.
cause grief. So how did you find the writing process for this book?
It was really tricky, actually. um, but much like the last experience I had, I wrote so much, and what I thought would stay in came out, and what stayed in, yeah, it's an interesting process. But actually, I think really helpful way of reflecting on where you've come, where you may need to still go. Um, yeah, it has been really helpful to write it, I think. And there's so much more that I could have written, so much more could have gone in there. So it really is a bit of a scratch the surface in a sense. But I just hope it's helpful because so many of us don't feel able to talk about these things. And, it's not that you go through something and you have to talk about it, but sometimes for some of us who may feel called to, it can be a really powerful thing. So I'm hoping that it'll just bring a bit of hope to somebody.
Yeah,
There's
and
a lot of
I
us
am
out there.
sure. Yeah, I am sure it will. And as you say, it's not, these sort of books, it's sharing our story in the hope that it will help someone, even if that's recognize something or validate their feelings or something like that. It's just giving that hope and that
Yeah,
maybe that little tiny glimmer of light that wasn't there before. And that's the whole, point. And I am a believer that we unfortunately go through these things for a reason. And if that is sharing it in a way that can then help somebody else, then I think that that's, powerful
yeah.
as well
And
as helping.
yeah, and there's always something to learn from our experience, and no two experiences are the same. So,
No,
but there are common themes, I think, and common things to learn. So, yeah, it is good to look into it rather than away from it.
yeah, yeah. And it's not always easy. And that's when you find
No.
that the healing can begin is when you start recognizing things and acknowledging them. So
Yeah.
so yes, what so we've sort of been talking about your chapter, but not talking about your chapter. So do you want to share with us, without giving too much away, what it is that you do talk about in your chapter within this book?
Okay. Well, I've talked about my story with COVID and getting long COVID, but I have a history of chronic fatigue syndrome and ME, um, and other chronic conditions. So I've spent a lot of time not being well in my life, and had mostly recovered. So to become almost completely disabled overnight, having almost completely recovered, there aren't words for it really. It's been an incredibly painful process, and I'm very grateful to be able to be back parenting my children and just generally being about and re-entering life. Um, but the chapter really is about the loss and the need to acknowledge it and feel it and process it. And it also touches on the fact that it was complicated by trauma and that the level of illness that I had, I couldn't actually access a lot of the things that are suggested for dealing with grief. Just couldn't do it. So it's very much sharing how there are other ways to do it and other ways around it until you're ready or until you're able. So
And
Yeah.
it is a very powerful chapter. Um, so yeah, I would recommend getting the book when it comes out to read Sarah's chapter. And obviously, you mentioned in the beginning that you do work with people with chronic illnesses. So if people resonate with your story or want to talk to you a bit more, we will put your Linktree link with this interview. And obviously, I know you've got your email address on there, and is that the best place really for people to contact you?
Yes, currently that's the best
Yeah.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up?
I think just that sometimes we can be really scared to look into emotions in general, and grief is a really scary one to look in the eye, I suppose, for metaphorically. But that actually it's in doing that that we can start to release its hold on us. And it's there to show us something good, not something bad. Um, we're all the stronger for being able to get through it.
Thank you. That's very, very wise words. And thank you again for joining us today. Please do join us again for another author in the spotlight. But for today, we will say goodbye. See you later.
Uh,
Bye. Bye.